to me something, the object, and you're seeing it. Okay, now what's the sixth sense? There's six of them. It's not Lulu, I see your long gone mother. It's, well, what do you think it is? Yes? Perception of time. Well, time is part of it, but it's not all of it. Yes. Proprioception. Proprioception in this is part of touch, but that is, it's part of the feeling sense. I heard someone say something from over here. Mind. Mind. Okay. What is the organ of mind? Now, you all know the correct answer to that, right? What would any psychologist say? Right. And right, if you go to Tolman Hall, you see this little gray building outside, which is the Holy of Holies of the, yes, you're smiling. Well, they debated what the organ was some 2,500 years ago. And the consensus was the heart. And that's a clue that we aren't going to mean exactly the same thing by mind. So what does mind observe? Well, it observes, or using the metaphors that we use for knowing or understanding, it sees thoughts, and the relationship is thinking. And just try it for a second. Think something. Now, isn't there a sense of there's sort of a me that's not the same as the thought, right? Because the thought is now something else. But you know your own thoughts. And, well, for instance, everyone's probably had these experiences of being attacked or overwhelmed by your own thought or your own feeling, or being seduced by your own thoughts. Happens a lot when you're trying to do mindfulness meditation. Well, who is being attacked, seduced, bored by your own thoughts? That's a sign you're a good meditator. You've done it for a while, and you're recognizing something that we'll get to. So from this point of view, that is from the point of view, this is now at the level of experience, all that activity is thinking. And it's the same as the other five senses in this very important sense of that the bottom line is a bare duality of this me-ness and an object and relationship. And this is now the basis on which the sense of me as a thing is starting to be built. The second skandha, or heat, is feeling. We've also met that before, right? Positive, negative, neutral, physical or mental. So, it can be one of the five physical senses or the mental sense that we attribute to the sense object often as the cause, right? So I have a positive feeling because I have a yummy thought or a yummy, vision or hearing or taste or whatever. Yes? Well, let's say the mind or the brain or the heart or whatever is the organ, and the thought itself is the object, or the emotion or the feeling. Now think about it for a while.
So the organ is observing the thought?
Louder.
The organ is observing the thought?
Well, doesn't it kind of feel that way? The me in some way, whatever it is observing, knowing, having a relationship to my thoughts and emotions, and my feeling tones and anything else. Yes?
Well, if the mind is the thought,
yeah? Well, well, what this is saying is that, see, what you're leaping to is it true? And is it true in the sense of, that we normally think about things? And what this is saying is, just observe. And that it kind of feels that way. And because we don't really ask, is this true? It just goes by really quickly. Now with mindfulness, you can start asking, is it true that it's outside? In fact, later on, we're going to ask, is it true that the object of vision and hearing is outside? And who is it outside? And, outside and inside will be challenged. So in asking those very good questions, you're doing exactly what these guys want you to do. Namely, you're starting to look and you're saying, this is how it feels. Does that make sense? You have to look for the questions to arise. Okay, these feelings now actually, because now we're at the stage 2, they include both the kind of the organ and the object. We tend to feel they're due to the yuckies and yummies out there, or we lean slightly outwards. Or, if you're in a therapy or a new age or whatever type thing, they're saying, it's all in your mind, look at yourself. But it's both. In this sense of it, it's clearly both. And this now, we come to the third of the heaps that make us up. Perception, which we think of as, a primitive, physiological kind of thing. But here, it's always, and I couldn't think of a word, so melded with or together with, the positive, negative, and neutral. And now we're going to a next stage, impulses, to do something about the positive, negative, and neutral, which is either to go for the positive, get away from the negative, and say, who cares about the neutral, which are this combination of the sense and its object. Because it includes the object, it's now starting to have something to do with the world. This leads to the fourth of the heaps, which is called formation, concept, habit. I'm giving you the Sanskrit of each one just because the translations of these things vary a lot, and if you've got that word in mind, you can struggle through different translations if you want to. You don't have to know it, but it could be very useful to you if you get interested in all of this. So the fourth level is now you start accumulating, and when we talk about karma, we'll see how, all of these concepts or habits. Does this make sense? I mean, what is a habit? It's a building up of the experiences with positive, negative, and neutral. Find, in a sense, behavior's psychological explanation. So they're habitual ways of perceiving and impulses for acting, and the perception, in this sense, and the impulse aren't separate in the world that you see as a yummy and a yucky and a meh. And now we start to get what we call recognizable psychological states, the things that are more familiar. So the others were kind of their, well, you know, it's hard to think in terms of their duality, their feeling, the next stage of perception, but now you've got what you know about. And those states get described, are based on what Buddhism calls the three poisons. You've met these several times. I just didn't call them poisons before because I didn't want to upset you any earlier than you had to be upset. So this is your grasping and desire and passion and greed, and the fear, anger, aggression pole, and the ignorance. And they're often just called passion, aggression, or ignorance, or some other trilogy. Somebody did a study of the use of the words, and this is the most frequent in our translation, so probably I will tend to use them. And notice these are the three basic motivations and stances towards the world in our psychology. Here they're called the three poisons because they're being seen from the point of view of an alternative that we haven't seen yet, because first you need the bad news, okay? And then you can get the good news. If you don't see it, then you're not going to start to see that maybe there's another way to do things. Or another analogy, let's say you're stuck in a particular program on your computer. You're not going to be able to get out of the program unless you know something, you see what's in it and you know how it works, so you know what keys to press or what to do to get to a different program. Now, these habit clusters can be what are called wholesome and unwholesome. And that just means in terms of relatively painful, relatively not painful, and whether they're going to have good effects on your future or not good effects on your future. But even the wholesome ones are kind of within this same system. So here's some examples. Okay, so with the desire grasping thing, you have attachment and non-attachment, greed and consideration for others, and so on. These are just some examples. Let's look at consideration for others. Now, that can, your basic friendliness that I'm encouraging in your meditation, your attitude towards things that pop up, are going to be friendly to yourself, to others, to anyone. But then it gets complicated, and you're saying, well, do they really want me to do this? And the last time I did it, it wasn't appreciated, and and whatever. And so it's, or if I'm a good person, will I get rewarded? And so it kind of gets into this whole thing that's going on. Aggression. You also notice how a lot of the wholesome ones are defined as, well, you have an impulse to doing the unwholesome thing, but you don't. That is, it's defined in negative terms. And ignorance. Notice that opinionatedness is under an wholesome form of ignorance. I like that one. It's not that these are good and evil. It's what effects they have. Okay, and what this then results in, well, let's look where we came from. Okay, we had our bare duality, had our feeling that is attributed to the object, we have perception on the basis of that, we have perception impulses, we have the concepts and habits that result from that, so we're poised to have, this is the last one, consciousness. We hadn't actually gotten to our conscious lived world yet, but now we are getting to that. So all the habits come together to form self-perpetuating contexts, which are called the realms. There is a logic to aggression, right? They're bad, I'm right, this is wrong. And then you do something on that basis, and you yell at someone, what happens? They yell back, or they withdraw, or it's things, and it turns into whole realms. And that's what we take as ourself. Now, the next two talks are going to be about the particular realms and how that logic works. But the general thing is that this gathering of all these different things creates an illusory world that we're trapped in. This is how we get trapped into the program where things don't work that well. So here we are. All right, so tune in next time for a tour of the a lurid, exciting tour of the 6 realms of consciousness. And in the meantime, the 6 senses. I don't know. Mana? Yeah, mana. Yeah, it's us. Yeah. Because I mean, it's like a metaphor that you have here. Metaphor where the 6 senses. The 6 senses of mana is a character. Well, the using honest, it comes in later Buddhism. So this is a more basic form. And later they say, yeah, there's actually a seventh sense, and that's your honest. Yeah. And that's because it's putting, this is kind of just a primitive observer, and honest is more sophisticated, puts things together. Right. Yeah.